Welcome to semifinal number 1, everybody. We are in the first qualifier for the Banshee Cup still. The Murky Cup. You see, now I'm mixing it up. People confuse the hell out of me. So it is the Murky Cup, but it's very similar to the Banshee Cup. We changed a couple of things, but there are a lot of similarities, and we're going to talk about them. First of all, as we're heading into it, also, again, there is prize money on the line, $2,000. The whole thing made possible by I Can't Wait. So he's currently the hero that we needed, but we don't really deserve. We got it anyways. So big shout out to him for making this possible. As I said, in total there's a prize pool of $2,000. $1,000 goes to the winners of the tournament, the top teams in the tournament. And then, similar to what we did with the Banshee Cup, we have a bounty pool of $1,000. And it's actually fairly simple. There's a couple of bounties that you can complete during the qualifiers, starting with the semifinals, and in all of the playoff matches. And every single time that you complete a bounty as a team, you get a ticket for that bounty pool. And then at the end of the tournament, we're looking at how many bounties were completed in total, how many bounties were completed by each team, and then they get a share of that bounty pool money according to how many bounties they completed. So just a little bit of an idea. This is what the bounties currently look like. Noteworthy, this is the Murky Cup, and Murky, if you complete the Murky bounty, you get 3 tickets instead of 1, so just more of an incentive for the teams to eventually play and win a game with Murky. Now, as I explained before, each team has their individual bounty board, so each team can complete every bounty 1 single time. You can't just farm the same bounty over and over and over again, so that's one thing here that you have to pay a little bit of attention to. But yeah, if there's any question, again, as usual, feel free to ask them. We also have a draft restriction in the sense that the hero can only be played once within a series. And let's see what now is going to happen on Battlefield of Eternity. Maybe within that series, we are going to get our first bounties already. So, Uther is banned. We have also a ban on Sylvanas. The Banshee Queen is out, but our first pick is Vala. This is starting to become a little bit interesting. I had this in one of the... Actually, it was not in the recent Korean tournament, but last year in the Korean tournament. We had certain heroes played quite a lot, and the European teams used that to just take a look at certain heroes again and reintroduce them into the meta. A good example back then was Tychus. Tychus wasn't really a high priority in Europe. And then the Koreans played him a lot, and the Europeans never gave him the same priority that the Koreans had, but they started to reintroduce them into their compositions a little bit more, and also adopted Master Assassin as a standard level 4 talent for a long time. Now, that was only temporary. Tychus then disappeared again, but now after we just had the recent Korean tournament, where Vala was definitely valued a lot higher than she is in the Western scene, some of the European teams at least start to reintroduce her as a higher priority and see what they can do with that. Kerosene gets taken, so we got the Enjoyers very early on in our series against Team Ash with a Kerosene pick. Definitely not something that I necessarily saw coming, but there is of course a chance that we're going to get a double support now, considering that they're playing with Vala. Normally when you're looking at Vala, you're immediately thinking an arrow build on Battlefield of Eternity, but you can play that auto attack style as well. So you could go into auto attack with all of this. That would more or less necessitate them to get a second support, or at least it would make it fairly strong. And that might explain the early Kerosene pick for them. But again, time will tell. Don't have to. You can go into the arrow build. Just go for the more traditional style. Hanzo has been banned. Sylvanas has been banned. You know, a lot of the damage dealers that you would traditionally use against the Immortal are gone. So an arrow build Vala, definitely not a bad choice here if they decide to run with it. On the left side now for Team Ash, after they already started things off with Johanna here. We have now Chromie, Miriala playing today with the account down for life, which was announced earlier. And here we get Renella with Deckard Kane, and we get Morenas on the side lane too. So our front line is already set up for them. That leaves us with Bishops as the final pick. Bit curious what he's going to take. Hanzo's already taken away. He played a lot of Sylvanas in the past too. Could see him again with Cassia, Falstad. Plenty of opportunities still for him. And now, first and foremost, the question, what exactly are the Enjoyers going to do? Second support, yes, no. Vala auto attack, Vala arrow builds. We'll find out. With Garrosh and Ana, we got our second support, and now it would really surprise me if Vala would not be played with an auto attack style, despite this being Battlefield of Eternity, where Monster Hunter, of course, can really give you a lot. Final pick for the first game in the best of 3 series here at semifinal number 1. Don't necessarily think that we're going to get a bounty attempt here right now, but we could definitely get one in maybe map number 2, maybe map number 3, unless the teams are really, with the first qualifier, very, very eager to get some points, you know, for the board to qualify for the playoffs. Genji gets taken, our final pick, and with that we're ready for the first map, Battlefield of Eternity, everybody. Team Ash going up against the Enjoyers. Game number 1. We are on Battlefield of Eternity, and over on the left side in blue, Renella with Deckard, Kane. We got Bishops on Genji, Lopaka on Jojo. Morenas is playing Dehaka, and Miriala on Down for Life's account with Chromie. Over on the right side of the map, the Enjoyers with a arrow build, despite the fact that they're playing a double support. Okay, interesting. Lavakal on Karazim. Gonna go straight into, well, I mean, damage Karazim is typical, but I think they're going to go for more damage talents for him in order to compensate a bit here. Arion on Vala, we got Richu on Hoga, Alvaros on Ana, and Twice is playing Garrosh. So, interesting. Double support, but still not going in on an auto attack style. Karazim very likely gonna go into a fair amount of damage talents. Now, again, level 1 talent is of course Iron Fists. That has nothing to do with them playing 2 healers and him trying to get more damage out. It's the standard talent for Karazim, no matter the situation. So, as long as they're doing for that, we'll see what they're able to do with Karazim as all of this progresses. Now, in case this wasn't quite clear, we have 6 qualifiers in total for this tournament. We're currently running a qualifier on Wednesdays and one on Saturdays. And the teams don't qualify directly by winning one of the qualifiers. So the way that this works is that as you progress through the tournament and as you're reaching the later rounds, you gather points. You can participate in as many qualifiers as you want. And at the end of those 6 qualifiers, the teams that are at the top of that leaderboard, the top 6 teams, then move on to the playoffs, where we're going to play a full double elimination bracket. So it's going to be pretty darn good. And we'll see how the teams will react also with the qualifiers. I mean, that since we have one qualifier during a weekday and one on the weekend, it offers a little bit more flexibility to the players, depending on, you know, what kind of I mean, some, you know, might have other things that they need to attend, family gatherings, maybe a bit of a vacation. It's summer after all. So having this system allows for a bit more flexibility on the player side, and we'll see what they're going to do as all of this continues here. I mean, for now, of course, this is the first one. Some teams will be able to set themselves ahead a little bit. This is a single elimination system as well. So seeding plays, of course, a bit of a role too. Vala, in the meantime, is starting to get their first stacks together. Nothing insane yet. Just heading into the second stack for now. Getting a bit of poke out there. Working towards specifically the second Immortal, because normally what happens is that this is where Vala really starts to shine after she gets for the double vault on the double arrow, but they already are getting kills. So, with that, we're having them very easily with a kill against Chromie, and that's first blood in the game. All the way up at the top, Morenas is currently sitting all tight and alone because we have Hoga already focusing on the camp and Genji saying hello. So all of a sudden, Richu is in a bit of an awkward spot here. Needs to protect the camp, but also wants to make sure that Bishops is not going to get a kill. Karazim is moving in to help him out here. I like the aggressive stance that Bishops is taking very quickly with Genji though. So, not bad. And he is able to move out. So Bishops is able to retreat here. 1 kill to 0, all we got. And over on the left side, we got Lopaka, we got Miriala, again playing Chromie here on a different account, stacking it up with the Sandblast, sitting at 17 as we speak. And now quickly the attack over to the Immortal, where the red team is actually getting very heavily ahead on the halftime show. They might even lock in the halftime show without losing any hit points on their own Immortal. And this is very much what it looks like right now. Well, I might only have 5 stacks so far, but has the repeating arrow. Monster Hunter on level 7 is really going to make her into a total immortal killer. But kudos to the Enjoyers. A very good rotation and very early damage on this. They have the sustain down here with the 2 supports too. It will be a question later on whether or not they can get the damage out. Obviously, we are expecting 7-sided strike for Karazim, so Garrosh getting some isolation plays would really help them here. Flip a target, you know, into Nirvana in the backline, and then a quick 7-sided strike after ideally is done with a shockwave would help. Halftime show already in. Red team is starting to suffer some hit point losses though. The blue team is super eager to try and use their damage to try and get a kill here. So far, Doesn't quite happen. But can they win the objective? Level 7 would really help. I mean, even if they can just extend this a little bit more, Vala with level 7 would for sure guarantee them the objective. They're already doing good damage, but the more this is dragged out, the better for the red team, because Vala will get that talent, and once that she does, she is going to get the extra damage in against the Immortal. Blue team is already more or less realizing that it's going to be tough for them to win the Immortal in the first place, but even just getting the hit points reduced a bit will help. So that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Twice at the front, looking for some opportunities. Here in the back, Ana gets attacked and killed. Genji, Swift strikes in, gets the kill, grabs the reset, and that is a first kill for Team Ash. They have Genji rather low though. Bishops is still thinking about moving in to take Richu down, but hasn't done that yet. Level 7 is now available for Team Ash, but hasn't dropped into the hands of the Enjoyers yet. But now that we have it, Vala with 9 stacks and Monster Hunter should be able to lock this in fairly easily. But Hearth's back first. No fountain cooldown apparently. That opens up a bit of a time window for Team Ash to get into position and also to chunk that Immortal down a bit. Now Vala is back on her way towards the middle. When we have at the bottom of the map, Horga just going for the spin to win on one of the camps. But yes, the Immortal is taken. Vala is stacking a little bit further. Ana gets attacked again. Saved by Garrosh. Genji couldn't get a kill, but Garrosh himself dragged by the Haka and might fall now. Gets targeted. Gets another flip. Nice against the Haka this time. And that's real trouble for Morenas. He's gonna fall here. Job well done. So Garrosh might have died, but he died and traded. Really cool play here from the front line on the side of the Enjoyers. And of course, they also got the Immortal. Now, this one is not going to get a lot of value. There's nobody pushing with it. So there's nobody that is able, you know, to do a whole lot and chunk it down here or whatever. It's a little bit of a nuisance, I suppose. Nothing too crazy. Well, actually, it's doing more than I expected. The red team is now following up on it as well, but I didn't really think that they would be able to do this much damage. This is way more than I thought. The wall down and even some solid damage on the fort itself. So, not shabby. Considering how the first objective played out here, this is still pretty darn good. Now, despite the fact that they lost the first objective and some structures now, the blue team is still slightly ahead in experience, and they could, of course, attempt to leverage that as the game continues. But right now, we're waiting for level 10 abilities to kick in, and that would then be the moment where Team Ash might be able to set something up. Even if it's just a nice position onto the second objective, that would already be sweet. Here comes an attack against Jojo, and she already had to use quite a lot of abilities trying to get away after Garrosh flipped her into the rest of the team. Camps are now taken on both sides, but we have with level 10 Blessed Shield. First objective, of course, got a little bit delayed, so that means that at least in this situation, we don't have the objective spawning around level 10, so still plenty of time for the Enjoyers to get their own heroic abilities, which it definitely will here now. So, it's going to be the next one. And there we go. 7-sided strike, nano boost. I mean, pretty much everything as expected here. No surprises. Vala still the choice between Strafe and going for Rain of Vengeance for added CC, if they want to utilize that. Bottom of the map, the gate has been opened up, but again, so far things are still looking pretty decent. With the 8 minutes on the clock, we're now having the second Immortal spawning. Rain of Vengeance is the choice. 14 stacks for Vala. And now she has level 7 for the fight. So now she can really go for the objective. And this is really where things are starting to become a bit more interesting. Because now Garrosh can execute the combo together with Karazim and attempt an isolation kill. Vala with a double arrow follow-up can chip in a lot of burst damage too, specifically if she's able to stack her level 1 a bit more. But even on the objective alone, she should be able to do a whole lot here. The objective is already looking, again, very decent for the red team. This is going to be the name of the game. The team composition that is being played here by the Enjoyers just caters way more towards dropping the objective than what we're seeing from their opponents. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a focus as the game continues. And they are going to get the halftime show here if Vala is able to just get anywhere near that thing again. She's starting to move around, but the Haka is coming in at the back, is making a play for Ana. There needs to be a few heals. Genji is coming in too, and Ana is still totally fine. Can easily retreat now. And the Rain of Vengeance might have missed. They were trying to taunt them into it. But the ult of the Arcane definitely doesn't stay a while. and get wrecked. The attempt was there, but they're not able to get a kill. Well, Hoga is down. All right. The follow-up from Genji allows them to get that kill, so Hoga is gone. He is eliminated. They're still hoping to fight at least for the halftime show, but now it's Garrosh that becomes the target up at the front. He's able to get away once again, as it seems. But we have now a pretty significant lead, actually, for the team in blue. They are nearly a level ahead at this point in time. So this is starting to make things a little bit tricky here. I mean, halftime show has been grabbed as expected. But who's going to walk away with the Immortal, which at the end of the day is going to be the big deal, of course. And 13 talents is something that Team Ash is absolutely willing to wait for. If they get level 13 talents right now, that would give them maybe the lead on this. It's also one of the reasons why they are now engaging much more aggressively into that objective here. Vala, Rain of Vengeance, 7-sided strike after the isolation, and Jojo falls! They get their kill, finally! Still a bit of a problem for Ana. She gets continuously targeted, and she wasn't alone in this case. Hoga gets also attacked, and Chromie is able to get a kill for them. And talking Chromie, damn, she's really getting the damage in and allowing Genji to go for these kills. He gets another one. Bishops gets dropped eventually. So Genji now gone, but still able to take Karazim down and to also annihilate, of course, in this case, Vala towards the end. So some really sweet plays executed. Look at Genji here. Totally worth it. Dying to that, I mean, not a problem whatsoever. It's the final shot on the tower that murders him. But then in the meantime, they're going for an objective too. Granted, the Immortal is extremely low considering how this all played out. But nicely done. And this is the way that the blue team, that Team Ash, wins the Immortal. Force the team fights, take the opponent down, and then turn it and take the objective. In a straight-up race on the objective, they just don't stand a chance. They don't have the composition to make that play, but they can win these team fights. And once that they do, once that they gain momentum in those team fights, they are in a position where they can just grab the objective afterwards. They're killing Hoga at the bottom of the map with the need rotation here. Of course, that means an easier defense at the top, and with Chromie getting quickly eliminated by Vala, that will allow them to defend at least the top side fort. But the one at the bottom has already taken so much damage earlier that it will be easy pickings for Team Ash. So Team Ash sets themselves a little bit ahead in this first map as they're starting to push through the bot lane even further. Nice check also from Johanna here. Not just thinking she's totally immortal and double checking the bush to make sure that nobody is waiting for her, and she figures out what's going on. So no successful trapping attempts here happening. 25,000 damage from Vala. Not quite top damage in the game. Currently it is Chromie, as so often, who's a little bit ahead. Genji? Oh, Bishops might be in trouble here. He's trying to jump out. They're maybe switching over to Dehaga instead. Not so far yet. But I like it. It's a nice back and forth. It's 7 kills to 5 now. Team Ash has, of course, taken the lead, as already mentioned a bit earlier, especially when we're looking at experience here. They are slightly ahead and making some pretty sweet moves in order to maintain that advantage. Get level 16, make sure that you're fighting around that, stall out the rest. Jojo now at the bottom of the map. Genji sitting in the middle. He has the mobility and acts a little bit like a scout, which will allow also Johanna to move easily back out here. With level 16 talents now kicking in, they are in the driver's seat for the next objective and should be able to properly leverage that to get themselves another Immortal. The only way that I can really see the Enjoyers to do anything about it is if they are able to somehow get a sneaky kill. And currently it just doesn't look like they got it. I mean, Vala is still stacking. She's sitting at 24. Nothing crazy, nothing insane, but she will rank up the damage as the game continues. But it feels like the blue team is more and more in control of the game as they are starting to invade, they are starting to take position. The Immortal, as it spawns, will be easily attacked by them, and they should be able to drop it low. For the red team, it's more about getting experience right now. They want to get to level 16. They need to get to the point where they can fight around this. They're, of course, also still playing around the Shaman camp, hoping to apply some pressure at the top lane at least. But both of the forts are now gone on the Enjoyer side. So they're not enjoying this too much, I'd say. And you also don't want to fight these fights now, not against an opponent that already runs level 16 against you. Hoga sitting in the bush here with a bit of a trap. Nano boost on Vala? Did he just fat finger? That's a bit of weird cooldown to burn in that situation. Either they really thought that there would be a fight happening that they're going to take, or there was some miscommunication, or he just fat-fingered his buttons. But the nano boost on Vala seemed like a little bit of a waste to me, honestly. Now that they have level 16 and could technically try and fight, that ult is missing, and that's a big one for them. So here comes the battle. Hogak again attack. Nice damage from Vala, and there's the kill. Genji is down. Damn, the Enjoyers. Look at Vala just absolutely running circles around them here. The objective with a massive, massive shield now, but Vala could chunk that down as long as she's still alive here, and it's a 5 versus 4 in their favor. The double support is allowing them to get some additional hit points as they're already on the way back and starting to slowly retreat here. But Vala should be able to chunk this down fairly easily right now. So she's definitely their biggest asset. She's honestly the only real range damage. I mean, Ana just isn't someone that is going to be able to rank up damage for them. But look at that, Chromie, fully isolated. And she kills Vala in the process. That's bad news. That was initially a really nice play by Garrosh, and then Vala killing Chromie. That was more or less inevitable. But her dying in the process, that's an issue. Deckard Cain goes down, that's good too. But the Immortal is still attacking the keep, and that's problematic. Immortal on the keep, trying to do more and more damage here. Johanna is now sitting in the middle. That's going to be the end of... not even the end of the keep. They're not getting this one just yet. But still that 1 level advantage. 8 kills to 8. Chromie is locking her level 20 in. We got 44,000 for her. 37,000 for Vala, who's still the top damage, obviously, on the other side. But... I mean, there's a couple of really nice moves from the Enjoyers that allow them to stay in touch with their opponents, but they're still not in a position where I would say they're starting to fully regain control here. Despite the fact that the defense, or that the push at the bot lane could have been way worse, the blue team still is in the lead. They're still having a much better position on this. And now Jojo getting killed, that might be the move that allows the Enjoyers to finally catch up. Because that reduced the experience lead by quite a bit. That means we're now looking at half a level of an advantage, and that's definitely something you can bridge. They're also saving the bot lane a bit, but, well, Genji is just moving in and is trying to get that keep. Has not gotten it so far, but is most likely going to continue doing this. As long as they have vision, it's fine, and yet the keep gets destroyed. The fort at the bottom of the map is getting dropped, but let's just say that the bot lane keep is not the only thing they need to worry about. Because at the top, the Haka is now pushing, and he's, of course, having the same agenda here. He wants to take this one on as well, at least open the wall up. Level 20, it gives him also some additional experience. It's all about the next objective here. This is going to be really, really crucial. Specifically with the Haka opening the top wall up. So can they get another kill? And well, they might just. Genji is X-striking out and... oh, makes it. Yep. Nano boost on Vala. Still trying to set her up here. But they're not getting the kill. It was a nice attempt to take Genji out. It was a really nice attempt. I like it. But it just wasn't good enough to get the actual kill. And now level 20 is ready, and just the timing of it. As the Immortal is up, here comes level 20. They need to fight into it. The Enjoyers definitely don't want to take that battle, but they kind of have to if they want to have a chance here. And they're losing Hogga immediately. He doesn't even get a shockwave off. Here comes the ult from the old man. Deckard Cain trying to set up the kill for them. They go for Vala, and she's gone. Vala gets murdered. She's eliminated quickly. Job well done. And this seems like it might be the beginning of the end. Maybe not. Can they still defend now that they have taken Hogga apart? I don't think so. It's still a 4 versus 3. Yeah, just look at that shield. Oh, that's gonna hurt so much. Once that Immortal is on the march, unless they are somehow making a miracle play happen, this should be rather problematic. I mean, it all continues over here right now, as we're having them stealing away the camp too. Or at least they're trying to. And let's figure out if they can. I mean, this is the play at this point. They're currently looking towards the top, where Genji is dropping a few more shurikens onto the wall to try and reduce it to rubble before the Immortal is even there. But they're even timing this. They're all Hearthing back. They're not even taking it yet. They're all Hearthing back, getting mana, getting hit points, waiting for the Haka. Still has, of course, the global. We have 10 kills to 10. But yeah, they really want to set this up. They know that the opponent is going to get level 20 for defense anyways, so there's no problem around that. But stalling that out allows them to set themselves up perfectly. Renella here, hit him with a stick! Trying to go for the Immortal. They're taking a few more camps as we speak, just to get ready. And yeah, with that we have now 10 kills to 10. And we're slowly starting to make the move here. The Immortal is taken. It's going to travel through the top lane. And that's where we're likely going to see the push, even though they find themselves still at the bottom of the map. Again, this is the best of 3. This is game number 1. So they are starting to slowly come together for that. The Haka's at the top. They can still move over. They're getting... there's a bit of a wedge driven between them. The Haka can always move down to the bottom of the map and already does. Jumps into the bush. Is going to try and go for Ana and Vala again in the back. Isolation misses. Nano boost this time on Vala. On time, on point. Get some nice damage in against the Haka. Nothing too crazy, but while they are pushing at the bottom of the map for the potential core, the Immortal is just murdering the topside keep. So this is really Team Ash trying to set themselves into position for a victory in game number 1. Fight at the bottom, still raging on. Top keep is going to get destroyed no matter what, but who wins the fight here? That will decide the game. Hogger, pogging hard, but not hard enough. He's gone first. They're still making a play for Garrosh. The Immortal has taken the keep already, and well, this is gonna be it. Chromie down. Yes, Karazim has also been eliminated, but the Immortal alone will likely end the game here. Fantastic job by Team Ash against the Enjoyers in game number 1 of this series. Really well played. It is the blue team with a victory. 21 minutes into the game. They're taking the 1-0 in the best of 3 against the Enjoyers. GG. Well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Map number 2, the semi-final continues when qualifier number 1 of the Murky Cup, Garden of Terror, is our second map and Team Ash is in the lead. So, once again, starting with the semi-finals, in the qualifiers, you can go for bounties, and it's a big map. Are we going to get a Murky bounty? We could, just to show them again to you. Here they are. And again, Murky's bounty gives you 3 tickets. So it's a very simple concept. $1,000 in the bounty pool. The teams can gather tickets, can complete bounties as all of this continues. And then, depending on how many they completed, depending on how many were completed in total, they get their share after the tournament. So it's not only about what you're doing in regards to you being able to win the tournament. Obviously that matters too, but the teams really have to go for a bit of a risk-reward calculation here, thinking about, hey, do we even want to go for bounties or do we just go for the tournament victory? Because essentially if you're picking up a bounty, it just means that you're taking a handicap for yourself. If you feel you can win, hey, by all means go for it, great. If you think you have maybe some strategy prepared that includes one of the bounty heroes, even better. But you always need to make that calculation. But if you, of course, can get a bounty, then even better. So far, 0 bounties have been completed. So just as a thought experiment, let's say one of these 2 teams now gets a bounty, and then throughout the entire tournament, nobody completes a bounty anymore. They would get an additional $1,000. So definitely worth it. Something to keep in mind here. And as we're going through the qualifiers, as we're going through the playoffs, of course, we'll keep you updated always how many bounties have been completed and what we're playing for here. But right now, they are playing also for points. You want to go into the playoffs. 6 teams make it into the playoffs. Diablo picked first now for the Enjoyers. That's a big map. This is really the first time kind of where I'm curious to see if we're going to get some bounties. Because you kind of could here. If there is a team that locks something in, I suppose it might be Team Ash since they have the lead in the series. But I am also a little bit skeptical that we're going to see any bounties in the first qualifier, because right now you are still very, very interested in making sure that you're performing well so that you get more points for that leaderboard. Because, again, there's a certain amount of RNG when we're talking about a single elimination system as well, mitigated to an extent by the fact that we have 6 qualifiers that the teams can participate in, of course. But I would say most teams will be very eager to just perform the best they can in the first qualifier, and then once you know you racked up some points, you know where you stand on the leaderboard, you know that you're very likely participating in the playoffs because you've done well in the qualifiers, then I think it's more likely the teams are starting to say, okay guys, now we can try something. Also, it gives them a little bit more time to practice these things. that's another one, of course. Zeratul and Urel. So Diablo and Zeratul, that is a potential wombo that you can execute with a Void Prison into an Apocalypse. Now, do we get to see that a lot? Not really, but we do see it. A bit more likely, I would say, that we get Might of the Narazim, and for Diablo, again, Apoc and Lightning Breath are both still totally fine. But usually when you're seeing Zeratul, they're really trying to go for squishies in the back line and try and take them down. But, yeah, we'll see. Rega get banned, Uther get banned, so they're really targeting some of the healers here. As the final ban for the Enjoyers is Leoric. Okay, Spooky Ghost is already gone. Now, Team Ash. Yeah, what are they doing now? I think this time Team Ash is actually translated into acronyms suck hard. I'm not 100% certain. Again, the team always goes through variations of what the team means and has also oftentimes some players that are being swapped around. And now things get interesting. Muradin Abathar. When Greymane was picked, I was already thinking about Abathar because he's a fantastic Abathar copy. But you could now really get Murky. Abathar Murky is one of the combos that we've been talking about for a long time, where Murky becomes insanely annoying. And now that we're here on Garden of Terror, they might go for some kind of strategy with Abathar Murky, where Murky is also focusing a bit more on wave clear and trying to push structures. So there is a chance of that happening. Jaina and Anduin, so they're dropping some extra burst damage onto the draft here. Come on, Morenas, make it happen. Are we getting a Murky pick? In the first qualifier, you have the Murky incentive has been increased. You get 3 times the rewards out of a Murky bounty than you get from a normal bounty. It's the Murky Cup after all. Are they doing it? Ah, they go for Artanis. Trash Tanis, ladies and gentlemen. In game number 2, Garden of Terror, we have Team Ash once again against the Enjoyers. Let's go. Game number 2 in the best of 3 here in the semifinal of the first qualifier, and we have at least a potential for a bounty, but I can already tell you the chance of it happening are pretty much 0. If Abathar goes into Monstrosity, then it would of course be a bounty attempt, but considering that they have Greymane here, I think it's rather low. Miriala on the account down for life is playing Greymane. We got Lopaka for the blue team with Abathar. Bishops on Muradin, so they've been swapping heroes and rolls around a little bit. Morenas on Artanis and Renella on Brightwing. On the right side of the map, the Enjoyers with the Richu on Urel. We got Lavacalo and Anduin. Arion going into Cleave with Zeratul. I'm gonna come back to that in a moment. Twice on Diablo, and Alvaros is playing Jaina. So essentially what we're talking about right now is that it is a little bit more likely that we're going to get a Void Prison Apocalypse combo from Diablo. It's at least so far not an instantaneous move into a Might of Narazim build. You can of course go for the Cleave Hybrid with only level 1 and level 16 talents. There's a few other iterations that you can go for as well. But yeah, time will tell. It's at least makes it possible that we're seeing that. Bishops is getting bullied around a bit, but he's not quite pulling a Lauba just yet. Instead is able to jump out. But the red team is very clearly on the warpath and is trying to chase them down a little bit. So far that hasn't really worked. But Muradin is already back in the bush and just hiding over here. So yeah, top side, that's where we are still looking at Urel and friends. So yeah, Urel doing her thing. So far so good. With the camps being up, that becomes very quickly a priority for the teams. So everybody is just moving over and starting to claim a few of the mercenary camps to try and get the lane pressure going. Abathar sitting tight in the mid lane. Was actually and he actually goes for the Korean build. He goes for a Toxic Nest build. Korean teams have played Abathar a bit. I think this is exaggerating things too much. The Korean tournament, again, you can find the playlist to the Korean tournament on YouTube. There's a full playlist not only for the Korean tournament, but also for the North American tournament that we had. And Abathar was played in the Korea Cup a little bit, not a whole lot, but the few times that we saw him, he was played with the Toxic Nest build, and this is exactly what Lopaka is currently mirroring here too. So went straight on level 1 into the Envenomed Nest, and at the top, yeah, Urel now against Abathar, who gets hit. But yeah, Urel is not immediately making a move here. Greymane on structures would of course be nice for them now as well. With Artanis, we're getting a Psionic Synergy and Reactive Parry on level 1. Over on the right side, Arian now slowly starting to make his move too for the next camp, and Lavakal and the rest of the team are coming in to help him out here. By the way, the build continuing now with the Psionic Strength for Zeratul. Still keeping an eye out for those level 10 abilities. Ooh, careful, Muradin. In the middle, gets a little bit chased. Nothing too crazy. And they're trying to turn it! Greymane doesn't have the bullet yet, is very likely going to pick it up on level 10 and is homing in on Diablo, I'd say. But now with the level 4 abilities, we're also getting the Prolific Dispersal for Abathar. Yeah, already Artanis moving in too. Trying to go for a bit of a swap, gets it. They're trying for Lavakal and Anduin is gone. First blood, baby! So, Horde all the way apparently. Even the Protoss are taking a side here. They know that the Alliance is weak and they're taking advantage of it. Anduina is eliminated. So are some of the structures though. So up at the top we're now seeing Richu moving in. Down at the bottom of the map. Yeah, quick attack here as well. With Zeratul using his cleave to get the wave clear in. Bit of an adjustment on level 7 at least. So not going for the full Envenom or Toxic Nest build, but instead we're getting Mule. This is something that the Europeans just don't want to give up. Mule is such a great one that you're just sitting there and you're thinking, alright, this is just it. Yeah. Renella with a quick pause here. And yeah, let's see what the problem is. I mean, I hope that nobody disconnected. It doesn't really seem like anyone did. So maybe just a bit of an issue that they have with voice. But be it as it may, now with the next seed, or with the first seed coming up, Muradin is already in position. Now, the position that we have for the seed itself is, of course, leaning way more over towards the blue team. So, sorry, towards the red team. So, I think they're going to rotate over there very quickly and try and take this one. You don't want to give up the seed that spawns on your side. It's going to make it quite difficult. And especially since the blue team is running Abathar, you want to focus on the objective early on. It's still a hit point bar that is missing for Team Ash in all of this. So, yeah, that's kind of that. Now with that said and done, we have all the way up at the top an attempt to go off on Artanis and drop him. That hasn't happened. And the seed has been claimed. Blue team actually stole it away. I really thought they would rotate someone over, that Zeratul would come in, delay things a little bit, but they lose the seed on their own side against an Abathar team. That's a little bit wild. Now, it seems that they're going to get nice value for that. At least they're trying, but it's a bit of a race between the top and the bot lane, because at the bottom of the map we see the blue team responding in kind with Greymane, so they're believing in their chance to utilize Greymane in order to do structural damage there. But the idea for the red team is, of course, to take the fort out at the top lane. That's where Mule also comes into play. They have 3 heroes now. Greymane is still trying to pressure this at the bottom a bit, and they opened at least the wall up there. Diablo at the top is now down, and they're chasing it even further. So it's a bit of an awkward one, but honestly, Team Ash is doing extremely well here. The idea of the Enjoyers to focus on the destruction of the top fort has thus far not played out yet. They lost the seed, but it's all a question of whether or not Urel can now seal it, because if not, then Abathar is going to mule it up. But they are letting that slide, I think. Hello, it's getting close. Urel, can they capitalize? Can they come in? I don't think so. Richu is getting attacked indeed. Will likely fall, but he was at least able to get them the fort. And that's already in and of itself a win. So Abathar takes the kill against Urel, but they lost. Oh, and at the bottom of the map, Greymane falls. So yeah, Greymane gets destroyed, gets annihilated. Level 10 kicks in for the blue team. So now they have 3 kills to 1. Bit of a lead. And they go Monstrosity! What? Monty is in! They're going for the bounty attempt! No way! I did not think that would happen. I really didn't think that would happen here. Not with them running Greymane. I thought for sure that would be a copy on the doggy, on the wolf. Might of the Narazim with Light Bomb engage and the Lightning Breath. But we got the Monstrosity up at the top, and now things get interesting. Yep, they do. They are trying to get the first bounty in this tournament, in the Murky Cup. So, Monty the Monstrosity is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. And he's actually doing fairly okay at the top. Should probably move it behind the wave. Oh, actually, he's taking control of it. Nice, I like it. So this is going to help them. This is going to help them quite a lot at the top lane. So they're going for the macro play. This is going to get really interesting. Now, down here is the seed that they're fighting over, and this would actually be the 3rd seed for Team Ash. So the red team has no other chance in fighting. Monty's coming in to fight as well. I did not expect that. Gets burned down very quickly. Sad moment for all the Monty fans, but the monstrosity wasn't fully stacked or anything. And now they're losing Artanis. There's no counter kill there either. I really expected them to keep Monty at the top and just try and delay the bot lane. That's what I personally thought would happen there. Top lane value with the monstrosity and Abathur playing the macro game, going for a bit of a split push, and them delaying at the bottom as much as they can, but that was shut down quickly. So now we got 14,000 damage for Jaina. Look at the top damage, by the way. Abathur with 22,000 and even Greyman with 16k. Diablo, good lightning breath, and then Anduin saving the day for him very quickly as the team was trying to take him down. Yeah. But it's gonna get really interesting now. Monty the Monstrosity on level 10 for Abathur. I'm still a little bit salty. Nah, salty is the wrong word. It's a little bit too strong, but I'm a little bit sad that they didn't leverage Monty at the top lane a bit more. That would have been kind of cool. Now, moving into the fight in and of itself is not a problem, but without being fully stacked, I don't think you get the value there that they really wanted. I mean, we'll see how this turns out as the game continues. Cooldown is going to be back in a moment. Muradin gets slowed. Might be in some trouble here. Diablo. And he gets the Stormbolt out. So now Twice might be the one that gets targeted. Good ult from Artanis as well. Artanis with some value. I know, it's shocking. And they go for Diablo, and he is gone. Diablo is gone. Monstrosity at the top lane, by the way. They get a double kill at the bottom. Nice. Monty topside needs to be safeguarded a little bit. So let's see if Abathur takes care of that. But with 5 kills to 2 at level 13 talents now for them, that's actually pretty sweet. So they're not only stacking Monty up and allow him to pressure the top lane out, it is really Lopaka that takes care of him. We've seen so many Monty plays in the Banshee Cup, where Monstrosity was just put on the lane and then completely disregarded and instantly died to a minion wave. But here in the Murky Cup, it's a completely different story, because at least Lopaka is showing the slug the love that it needs and deserves. So now we're getting more and more stacks together, and that means that this little bad boy right here is going to do some work. They're stealing another camp away. We have 5 kills to 2. Half a level lead now for Team Ash. And they, as I said earlier, destroyed the bottom fort. Have, of course, lost the one at the top, but can now also move the Monstrosity over to the next lane, which is exactly what they're doing. Down at the bottom, Zeratul wants to get a kill. Can't get it right away, but that's more experience, and that is helping them to control this lane. Make sure that they're not losing out on too much XP. And Monty is still stacking, sitting at 33 right now, and becoming a little bit of a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game here, for sure. Next seed is coming up. Each team now has 2 seeds, so they will likely move Monty back into the fight. They kind of have to. They need to use everything that they have to ensure that Garden Terrors are not going to be picked up by the Enjoyers. Camp, on the other hand, is about to be stolen. Monty is fully stacked. The camp is stolen away. Monstrosity is still pushing the bot lane out. Abathur now slowly coming in here. Lopaka pausing the game. Bit of an awkward moment, to be honest with you, because right now the fight is about to start up. So Lopaka has Abathur at the top lane, is soaking a bit of more experience for them. They are still half a level ahead and could go to level 16. But it is the Monstrosity at the bottom that is slowly moving in now. And this is really where they have to make a stand. This is going to be the 3rd seed, as I already explained, for one team, no matter which one. We got 21,000 damage now for Jaina. She's the one with the burst damage here. We got Diablo, 9k, hasn't gotten a whole lot, even with Lightning Breath, and the same is honestly true for Zeratul. Whereas for the blue team, it's Abathur, it's Greymane that are the main damage dealers here. And even Muradin is not looking too bad. Muradin is at 15,000 right now. So as the 3-2-3 moment unfolds right in front of us, the question is still, who picks up that seed? Who is getting the objective? Who's going to be able to take a few more structures down and take control here? Only one bounty attempt in this series, in this game so far. And it is the Monstrosity. Now, quick reminder, you have to actually win with it. It's not only enough to play it, you have to win with it. And the big question is, can they? Now, whatever the reason for the pause, it seems like it's a bit of a bigger deal for them right now. Nobody has dropped, as we already established, but, well, let's see what they can do as they come back, because this is going to be a big fight, and a pretty decisive one. This is going to show us the direction the game goes, and, well, there it is. So now the Monstrosity, moving back to lane, lost the Symbiote over here. Not sure if that was really intentional, and is not playing around with it just yet. So, they're still stalling this out, and the interrupt is there, ult from Artanis. Monty maybe even tunneling in, pushing the lane still. Abath at the top, they want level 16 I suppose, trying to buy themselves a little bit of time for the extra talent that they might be able to get here. Monstrosity is pushing at the bottom of the map, whereas everybody else is now focusing on the objective. Artanis gets caught. Morenas about to be killed, and he is gone. Monstrosity at the bottom of the map is starting to tunnel in. They are still willing to fight this. No, tunneling to the top. They sacrifice the objective. Garden Terrors are taken. Down at the bottom of the map, the lane is fully pushed out, and Monty is now wreaking some havoc up at the top lane. 16 talents are kicking in for them. It will give them a bit of a lead, so that might help to defend properly. But yep, the Monstrosity, as it is fully stacked and now is level 16 talent, is still being used here and can help with the defense. But the main aggression is happening in the middle of the map right now. Damn, Monty is wrecking this one quickly. Woo! Alright, that is a defense right there. Stutter stepping Monstrosity of Doom. Level 16 talents are ready, but they will be ready for both teams in a moment. We now get the adrenaline boost on 16 for Abathar. But yep, defense is looking very solid so far. Pretty decent. 5 kills to 3. Middle has been defended. They try to make a play for Diablo. Stormbolt being dodged. Monty has done his job at the top lane. Could also tunnel down to the bottom of the map with the cooldown is ready again in order to deal with the bot lane Garden Terror. But so far, they've done pretty alright, I gotta say. They might do better than alright. They go for Urel. She pops her ult. Mirrodin. Maybe a bit too far isolated, but Avatar's up, and now they're turning it back onto Urel. Ah, but Anduin, annoying as usual, saves the day for them. The play for twice, also not successful. So Diablo survives too. And down at the bottom of the map, Abathar helping out with the Symbiote, being able to drop the mule now. And the Monstrosity is pushing out the top lane again. Ah, Abathar is getting mad value now out of this. This is, I mean, again, I really don't care how this ends, but if you contrast that with how the Monstrosity was played during the Banshee Cup, I mean, it's night and day. Lopaka definitely knows what he's doing there, and he is getting value for the team. So he's doing some solid work for them. The attack at the bottom, on the other hand, is still happening, and they're trying to go for Diablo, who they're not able to take down here. So, bit of a problem, maybe. They have so many kill opportunities, but they're not quite able to take them. That might come back eventually to bite them in the ass. Middle of the map. Yeah, Zeratul applying more pressure. So you gotta be a bit careful on where you drop your mule now, but those siege giants need to be dealt with. We're 13.5 minutes in. Now keep in mind, as the catapults are scaling, taking forts down becomes more and more important. Monty at the bottom of the map. Oh, Monty is gonna fall. Yeah, they wanna go for it. Monty, no! Tunnel, baby! Nope, the Monstrosity is gonna be eliminated here. Yeah, buying a bit of time for the team. But that, my heart breaks a little bit when I see that. It's a sad moment. Seed is also gathering, or is ready to be gathered. Oh, and they're gonna try for Zeratul. And the timing of the kill. And it's all because of Monty, because he was such a great distraction. So yeah, that was clearly what happened here. There's no other explanation of what we just saw. It was clearly the work of Monty. Even when Monty dies, Monty is helpful. So now they're gonna get the Garden Terrors. And now it's a question of how much damage they can do with that. Now that they got Garden Terrors, 40 seconds until Monstrosity's back. It's a bit of a shame. That would have really helped them to push these lanes. But one quad has been destroyed earlier. The one in the middle is going to fall 100%. Abathar has already taken position at the bottom of the map. So some locust pressure is at least added to those minion waves. And I think they're going to let the top lane play itself out, which will reduce another fort to rubble. Abathar is even moving in for it. Down here, not too much that they're doing. But in the middle, they're also trying to break at least the wall. And look at the experience gap. I mean, we're talking about more than a level by now that the Enjoyers have. So the Enjoyers are heavily ahead. soon gonna get level 20. And, well, there we go. That's gonna be another fort. With Morena's moving in, that's all the forts destroyed right now. Every single one of them. All the forts are gone, and now the level 20 talents are in play. Yep, and that in and of itself is of course a bit of a win, because now you have catapults pushing, you have the monstrosity that you can unleash once again if you want to. You're already pressuring through some of the gates here, so that's another win that they're currently running, and this is really gonna help them. They're even going for the keep right now. They're going for the keep. You realize even here, without level 20 in the hands of the red team, they're absolutely unwilling to fight any of this, and it is starting to become a massive problem, because now the top lane is fully exposed. You have the monstrosity, you have Abathur, both of them can push that lane out. At the bottom of the map, Urela's been pressuring. Abathur is trying to save the fort and might be able to pull that off. And once that mule gets dropped, you still have that standing. Mule is in, Urel is making a move, Monty is trying to push her back, and they might send even a hero down. Monstrosity is just chasing, and again, with the Mule already starting to repair the fort at the bottom of the map, it's gonna take a little bit more than Urel just jumping in one more time in order to drop it. So, nice move retaining their structures on the map. Of course, level 20 helps with that. We have on 20 now the Speedy Dragon, we got the Plasma Burn. By the way, Brightwing isn't a dragon, that's a fruit fly. Just clarification. Blizzard again with misinformation and disinformation. I'm not a fan. Somebody needs to crack down on this. We got Hunter's Blunderbuss now. And the first seed for either team. It's not like we have a ton of seeds already picked up after each team got their set of Garden Terrors. But now it's at least 20 versus 20. Monstrosity, yeah, unfortunate. The bugger didn't realize it. So Monty's lost again, but they get the seed. 6 kills to 3, and they still have the catapults, of course, pushing. So, yeah. 17.5 minutes in. Catapults are starting to do a bit of work. Question is always, like, how much of an impact are they going to have just yet? But as the game continues, we are going to get into Minion territory. And also, nicely for them, they are not in the spot, the blue team, where they have to fight every single fight. They don't have to. And the attack is coming in again. Alright, and... Whoa, 8 hit points! Renella on 8 hit points! No way! He literally had 8 hit points. Muradin dies though. Where are the counter kills? They are none! They couldn't get the counter kills despite how low they were. But look at this. That was insane. The play against Brightwing, the barbecue sauce, and then with 8 HP, Renella goes out, and even Zeratul moving in couldn't kill him. Them losing a moment later, Muradin and also Artanis. That was, of course, a big, big blow. And this might now end in a lot of momentum for the Enjoyers. Yeah. The Enjoyers are coming in, making the attack down at the bottom. We still have a camp pushing through that Zeratul needs to deal with. That takes the sting off the push at least a little bit. Some of the towers are still falling here. A few more camps now also taken. And at least topside, Zeratul will have to deal with this too. I mean, he's already starting to move in order to try and, yeah, take that out. A few more camps now taken as well. When it comes to experience, just in general, minion experience nearly the same. Passive experience is of course slightly increased for Team Ashe. The funny thing is the difference that we're seeing right now in mercenary experience. I mean, at the end of the day, Team Ashe has essentially doubled the mercenary experience of their opponents. It changes now slightly as the red team is finally starting to more significantly focus onto the camps that were still up on the map. So it's kind of interesting to see that there's more experience from heroes for the Enjoyers than there is for Team Ashe, despite the fact that the blue team is ahead in kills. But again, it always comes down to the question of when did you kill the heroes, what level did they have. But it seems like Team Ashe is honestly having some trouble. I don't really know what always causes these breaks here, but in either one of their players has some lag issues, or they have another reoccurring problem. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just an issue of some of the players having to be called to dinner all of the time to eat some borscht. Wasn't that what it's called? I'm quite sure if I ever ate that, but I definitely would like to try it. I mean, either way, they are having some issues, some kind of issues here. So I believe the third time now that we're having a break in those 2 games. So whatever the issue is, I hope that it affects the gameplay not too much. By the way, Monty is back up and is now trying to defend the top lane. The problem is that so far we do see 0 stacks, and it's not only the minion waves that you have to deal with, but most of the mercenary camp, at least first and foremost. Down on the right side or over on the right side, we still have the catapults slowly coming in on this, whereas the next seed is up. Each team has now 1 seed already taken to their name. And well, we're also getting on top of that now with the damage numbers. 53,000 for Jaina. Look at Greymane's damage. 69. Nice. And we're getting 56,000 for Abatha. So apparently it is actually Bishops that has some high ping problems here. I mean, I would also say that I had high ping and not that I had to fight with my mom the entire time because she wants me to come to dinner. Bishops! Dinner's ready! But Mom, I'm playing! I said it before and I say it again. I had the problem with my parents all the time. Back then when the internet was actually rather new, they just didn't understand that there were other people, you know, dependent on me. I was saving the world with other people, and if I dropped out, they were lost. They couldn't do anything without me. So yeah, it wasn't just simply the old days where you only played single player and had an easy save game going for you. But yeah, the good old days. When you had modems. I need a modem sound on my soundboard. That would be a fun one, honestly. That would be kind of entertaining. You know, you play that sound and everybody that goes full boomer immediately turns around and looks for the modem and what's wrong today. So those were the days. The younger generation doesn't even know what I'm talking about. And like, what is the old man blabbing about now? It's ridiculous. But yeah, so top lane again. Monty, we'll see if Lopaka is actually taking care of the monstrosity a little bit here, but it would be nice for them if he did, because if he does, then they're going to feel a little bit of relief, at least initially, with the mercenary camp taken out, and they can also try and escort these catapults over towards the core. So there's definitely a few good arguments to be made for him to try and pay attention to that. Should probably also start to drop a few more mules down at the bottom of the map and try and... oh, well, I actually did already. Nice. So another mule in. That fort is still totally fine. The one problem is that you still need to win a couple of team fights here as all of this continues. Yeah, top side. At least they're going to take the mercenary camp out fairly quickly. So yeah, that's definitely going to help. It's actually kind of funny. Monstrosity with adrenaline boost on level 16 is always amusing to me. Just turns into a race car here and just speeds up like crazy. So right now we got Urel also with a couple of moves as the swap attempt from Artanis was foiled. And Lopaka, you can see it on the minimap, is consistently moving the monstrosity back to start getting a couple of stacks here. So yeah, moves in, out, and helps therefore the team to get the stacks in. Not quite sure if we're going to see the monstrosity join the team fight, but just having it push out the top lane is already big, because once the catapults appear at the core, you will have to send somebody back on the enjoyer side. Somebody will have to retreat. So I wouldn't even move the monstrosity into the fight. Don't really see a need for it. Then again, you don't have the copy. But this is pushing this out quickly, the top lane. And there's a third catapult now coming. So we're at 19 stacks. We'll probably have to move it back again with the next minion wave. But this could be big. This could be a big, big problem. I'm just not sure if Abatha has the time to send a symbiote towards the top in order to save the monstrosity yet. That remains to be seen, and currently it's just not the case. Down here, Light Bomb, the engage, as they're trying to get the kill. Greymane and Zeratul seals the deal as it takes them down. Greymane is gone. Now the monstrosity has joined the fun for a moment. Big minion wave at the top with catapults too, but things are, yeah, a bit grim here. Now this is gonna do work. The problem is they don't have the time for it. Monstrosity is even moving over towards the middle. More structures are getting destroyed here too, but the double channel is now happening and Zeratul is on. Oh, actually, that gets interrupted. Muradin, is he going to survive that? He went deep for it. Zeratul is defending. Catapults are now slowly on the core, so Zeratul needs to still take a few of them out. But the move through the middle is also happening. Monstrosity all the way at the front is going to soak a couple of the shots here. I don't think they can save that. Well, they actually can. And a catapult is now on the core. Only one, and the seed has been claimed, so the next one is triggering Garden Terrors again. But they did decent damage here in the middle. Yeah, that keep is down to 50% of its HP. Monty is destroyed though. So Monty is destroyed, but it starts to become an interesting... I mean, honestly, this game is... The difference in style is kind of cool, but I think it's getting harder and harder for the blue team to make moves here because they're losing team fights too heavily. They're not losing 3-4 heroes, but they're not winning any of them. They can't stall them out. So the Monstrosity doesn't have enough time to leverage the macro plays that they're trying to set up here. They've done damage to those keeps, but unless they're taking another one out, I just don't see it. Dropping another keep would be big, but it's just not happening right now. 80,000 damage for Greyman is nice, but yeah, they're losing heroes, and that's a problem. Now at the bottom of the map, can they still defend the fort? I mean, even if they can't, I still think it's fine. But Meridian, he needs to come back. And it just shows again how tricky it can be to win a game with Abathur when you don't have a copy. With a copy, these fights would look very, very different. The double Greymane in these battles would be pretty big. So it is a handicap that you give yourself if you go for a bounty. But still, it can be a big reward. They can go for Diablo, and they take him down. But he was fully stacked, and Artanis died as well. That was still pretty impressive when you think about it, though, because Meridian was not part of that fight. So you can argue it's a staggered death, but they also traded Diablo's souls. That might help them with the seed now that is about to be gathered. Abathur has dropped the Monstrosity at the bottom of the map and is starting to stack it up again, so they're attacking another keep here. And this could work out. But they are... Yeah, this is Garden Terrors. They're not even trying. Garden Terrors are gonna spawn. And now we're talking 24 minutes. So, yeah, more mercenary camps again for Team Ash. But, oof. Monty is in the house. And Monty is going to try and defend the bot lane. Not a lot of stacks for Monty, though. Monty looks... this is going to be nasty. Yeah, Monty was stacked and that was a different story. But they got to defend the middle. They got to defend the top. Rayman is doing his thing here. Abathur at the bottom of the map needs to keep the Monstrosity alive and currently does. So this is actually a decent defense. This should defend this easily. And now they're moving Monty towards the top. So they're trying to have the Monstrosity here as well. Into the middle, actually. They go for the keep. They go for the keep. Bottom fort might be defended by the Mule. And they go for the keep in the middle. But at the top lane, different story. The Enjoyers, they're really going for it. The Mule gets dropped here. They are hoping to save it. It's going to be tough. And the Mule gets destroyed immediately by Jaina. And they lose Artanis again. Trash Tanis once again useless. Gets murdered. They will get the keep in the middle with the Siege Giants and the Monstrosity here. But the red team is clearly trying to end the game now. The Garden Terror might be gone, but they're trying. It's a big risk though. Against Abathur with Mule, this is definitely a risk that they're running here. I'm not sure if this is going to pan out for them, but they're going for it. The keep on the right side of the map is destroyed, and Monty's going for the core. Monty's going for the core. Zeratul is down. And talking about cores, this one is low. They try for twice, and they drop him. Twice is gone as well. I don't know if they can end here. I doubt it. Maybe 28%. It's getting close. It's getting clutch. Jaina is dead. 20%. They're not winning this. Brightwing, Anduin. They're all going for it now. 12%. And Anduin is of course not gonna matter. It's a crybaby. 6% on the core. Of course Anduin is not gonna finish the job. Are you kidding me? That was obvious. When Anduin was the only one left, it was already clear that the core would not fall. They're crossing the map. They're trying to end the game now. Everybody's dead on the side of the Enjoyers. And here they come. Catapults are slowly moving in as well. Team Ash, they were on the brink of defeat. They're about to lock in the first bounty in this tournament, in the Murky Cup. They go for the core. Zeratul back in 5, but it's not going to be enough. They completed. Monty, definitely the match winner here for them. A 2-0 victory for Team Ash as they complete the Abathur bounty and lock in a 2-0 victory in the semifinal. GG and well played.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.